Okay, so are you ready to dive into Gates of Okinawa?
Absolutely. These chapters are where things really start to get interesting.
It seems like we're in for a wild ride. You sent over chapters 14 through 16, right? And the author's bio and the book blurb, too. You really went all out.
You'll love a reader who's prepared.
It's the only way to fully immerse yourself, you know? Plus, with a story like this, you need all the context you can get. So let's pick things up. With Xena, our American teacher, navigating the ups and downs, and, let's be honest, the downright creepy side of life in Okinawa. Chapter 14 starts with her in the hospital. Remember that fire at her school?
Oh, yeah. Things were really heating up.
No kidding. But here's the thing. The way the author describes Xena waking up, the sterile smells, the hushed voices, it's almost like you're right there with her, feeling that sense of disorientation.
It's all about setting the mood, and it definitely worked on me. I was hooked from the first sentence.
Me too. And then enter Yumi, Xena's friend. And she's not just there to hold her hand and fluff the pillows, you know. She shows up with a little something extra for the pain. The good stuff, the book says.
Now, that's a true friend. Bending the rules a little to help a pal in need.
Right. But it also made me wonder, like, what else is Yumi willing to bend the rules for? Especially with all the strange stuff happening around Xena, it just adds another layer, don't you think?
For sure. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Speaking of icebergs, chapter 14 ends on a pretty chilling note. Secure in the dark, memories of what landed me there appeared in flashing images. Talk about a cliffhanger. It's like the author knew exactly how to leave us wanting more.
Oh, absolutely. Pure genius.
So naturally, we have to jump right into chapter 15, which throws us headfirst into those fragmented memories Xena's having. We finally meet Agent Chang and Agent Tam from the OSI, who are there to question Xena about the fire.
About time they showed up, right? I was wondering when the investigation would really get going.
Right. And speaking of those agents, did you notice how different they are? Like, even the way the author describes their voices.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's definitely there.
Agent Chang is all business, you know, sharp, to the point. But then there's Agent Tam, who seems much more, how do I put this?
Easygoing, maybe even a little musical in the way he speaks.
Yes, that's it. I remember thinking two totally different approaches to this investigation. What do you think that means for Xena?
Well, it can't be easy for her, that's for sure. Having to navigate these two very different personalities while she's trying to piece together what happened.
And it makes you wonder who she's going to trust more, right? If either of them. It's like she's being pulled in two different directions. And speaking of being pulled in different directions, this is where the whole investigation takes a turn, right? Suddenly, Xena's not just a witness, she's public enemy number one.
Oh, yeah. The rumors start swirling.
Like wildfire. People are pointing fingers, saying she's the one who started the fire. It's like, come on, people, give the woman a break. She's been through enough already, don't you think?
Right. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Totally. And you can tell it's really messing with her. Like
Yeah.
that whole thing where she starts speaking Japanese when she's stressed.
Oh, I noticed that too. It's like a subconscious thing.
Exactly. As if Okinawa itself is somehow seeping into her psyche. Which, let's be honest, with all the ancient traditions and spooky vibes on that island, it wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Not one bit.
Okay, so then we hit chapter 16, and it's interrogation time. The author's description of that OSI office, though, chills. It's so mundane, so ordinary, and yet you can feel the weight of what's happening.
It's like the air itself is heavy with suspicion.
Exactly. And Xena's stuck right in the middle of it, and you've got to feel for her right, trying to explain these terrifying fragmented memories.
Which are obviously super disturbing.
Absolutely. But she just can't seem to make the agents understand. It's like she's speaking a language they don't get. And to make matters worse, nobody else seemed to have seen what she saw. Or if they did, they're not talking. And just when you think it can't get any worse for poor Xena, bam. Yumi hits her with that cryptic warning at the end of the chapter.
Talk about a cliffhanger. I was on the edge of my seat.
Me too. They need to face this monster together, she says. Monster? What monster? Up until this point, those ancient creatures mentioned in the book blurb have been kind of a background threat, right? Lurking in the shadows. But Yumi just gave them a name, and suddenly things just got real.
She definitely knows more than she's letting on. I mean, there has to be a reason she's so adamant that they face this monster together.
Right, like what's her connection to all of this? I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface here. It's like we're on this runaway train of suspense, and every chapter just throws more fuel on the fire.
And it's not just the plot that's got me hooked. The characters are equally as captivating.
Right, like Xena trying to make sense of it all while being pulled deeper into this web of ancient secrets.
Exactly. She's caught between two worlds, her American upbringing clashing with the ancient traditions of Okinawa.
It's like she's trying to solve a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing shape right before her eyes. And then there's Yumi. What's her deal? She seems to have this whole other level of understanding about what's going on.
She does, doesn't she? Like she's privy to some ancient knowledge that Xena's still completely in the dark about.
It's almost like she's, I don't know, like a gatekeeper of sorts, protecting the island and its secrets from those who might not understand.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. And it would certainly explain why she's so hesitant to reveal too much too soon.
Right, like she's testing Xena in a way, seeing if she's worthy of knowing the truth. Which begs the question, what is the truth? What are these ancient creatures, these monsters that seem to be at the heart of it all?
Well, if the author's use of Japanese folklore is anything to go by, we're in for something truly unique, something unsettling, something otherworldly.
See, this is what I love about a good mystery. All the speculation, all the possible avenues the story could take, it's enough to drive you mad. In a good way, of course.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. We're left
Yeah.
more questions than answers.
Which, I have to say, is the mark of a truly gripping read. So, as we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive into Gates of Okinawa?
Don't be afraid to embrace the unknown. Let go of your preconceived notions and allow yourself to get swept away by the mystery. Who knows what you might discover along the way?
Words to live by, my friend. And there you have it, folks. Another deep dive into the world of literature successfully navigated. Remember to subscribe and leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, happy reading.